Pokemon that you have in play.
Card does everything. It draws you cards, it does massive damage. It's what allows this deck to function. It looks like Ian, I believe, won the coin flip, but let's introduce Ian to you guys. For everyone who's joining, I'm sure there are more accomplishments than can even list on this event. Looks like going for a few top 8s at regionals more recently.
Yeah, I
also
think going with the recency over, some of those older accomplishments, but has won 3 regionals, of course, top 8, and then international championships, which those are the highest level of competition that you get in the Pokemon TCG besides the World Championships. And that key tech card that you mentioned, Ethan, of course, Arceus V-Star we know plenty about. Why don't you fill us in on this Medicham?
Well, Medicham's got a lot going for it. That Yoga Loop attack allowing me to place 2 damage counters on a Pokemon, but if it's knocked out, you get to take an additional turn. You can't chain Yoga Loop over, but doing that once is plenty. It's more than enough. Colorless is important. It can be fulfilled by the double Turbo Energy, and more importantly, Raihan can get it powered up in 1 turn. So several ways to get things powered up and going. It looks like both players drawing their opening hands are ready to get those prize cards out and settled. These could be a big key pieces. The Medicham actually in the prize cards, not as relevant in this matchup, but still seeing that as well as a Sobble. And for Andrew, a Fusion Strike Energy at the top could be a big deal, especially on that first turn of the game if you're going second, to try to get the Fusion Strike Energy plus the Alessa Sparkle to deal some damage.
Yeah, having a bunch of Fusion Strike Energy is really important against these Arceus decks, because if you can ever get to the 4 Fusion Strike Energies in play, that is 280 damage, which is enough to one-hit KO Arceus V-Star. So that's not an option Andrew's probably going to have in this game. He also prized a Battle VIP pass, so maybe a little less likely that he'll have one of those key cards in his opening hand. But nonetheless, it seems like this game is getting underway. I can't wait, Ethan. I'm so excited to see how this is going to play out.
Absolutely. It looks like the top deck there, actually the Arceus V. It's definitely still a solid top deck, because I think the rest of the cards in this hand are very solid. Has the double Turbo Energy, has the Air Balloon, and that's actually just going to be it. Unable to get any Sobble down turn 1. Is that very detrimental, especially in a fast-paced matchup? Not even another Pokemon right on the bench.
Yeah, that's not ideal, because now Andrew could potentially take a Melodious Echo KO on turn 1 here just by playing an Escape Rope or by using one of the 3 copies of Pokemon Catcher that he plays. And Andrew's heard me. I mean, I said that Andrew prized that Battle VIP pass, and Andrew's like, you know what? No problem. I've got one in hand anyway.
Yeah, perfect. Able to grab any 2 Pokemon out of the deck. Can only be played on your first turn, but that value is so high, 100%. Able to go and find 2 Genesect V out of the deck. Just going to go ahead and search through. Andrew, a very experienced player, understands I need to know my prize cards. I need to know what Pokemon I have access to. But that is the key importance. Getting these Pokemon down. Genesect is the backbone of this deck. Going to be able to draw plenty of cards with both these Genesect being grabbed off of the Battle VIP pass.
Yes, very good. Exactly what you want to see on turn 1. Andrew will have plenty of other cards to work with. Really looking for a Meloetta, the Alessa Sparkle, and then was also need a damage modifier. Oh, I thought that was a second Battle VIP pass being played. I was like, no way. But no, just moving it over there to the discard pile. Has a couple of Meloettas in the hand, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to commit 2, but it does have the option. Looks like a Cremomatic in the hand as well. Looks like eyeing up a Echoing Horn. This is a big flip. This could either find the Fusion Strike Energy.
It.
Wow, heads.
Big heads, huge flip, and this can get a Battle VIP pass to fully fill up the bench. Get 5 Pokemon in play. It's a little unfortunate to lose the Echoing Horn, though, because that is a way that Andrew can sneak an extra 2 prize KO in here at some point. These Arceus V-Stars have a huge amount of hit points, and it's really difficult to reach for KOs on them with Mew VMAX, but Arceus V is much easier to handle, so usually Echoing Horn is a good answer for those situations.
I was going to say, there is the line to just go and grab the Fusion Strike Energy right away at this point, or the Alessa Sparkle. What do you think about this play, rather than trying to guarantee these cards with something like a Battle VIP pass instead?
Well, yeah, it's just going to depend what the rest of the hand looks like. Andrew does have the Pokemon Catcher in hand, so, if he's feeling like he's going to hit another heads, this is fine as well. Then you don't even have to hit the Escape Rope, and can also put that other Meloetta in play. I believe has Rose Tower in the hand, so that's a way to draw some more cards. Isn't going to be worried about any Path to the Peaks. Ian is not playing any copies of that card.
No, definitely don't want to shut off your own Starry Birth. Really opting for Training Court as the main stadium card in these decks to continuously get energies back. We will see the Alessa Sparkle. Going to get 2 Fusion Strike Energy out of the deck. Opting to not grab the Fusion Strike Energy itself, as well as a Pokemon Catcher. Heads!
Wow. Heads on Cramomatic, heads on Pokemon Catcher. Now all Andrew needs is to find a Fusion Strike Energy and a damage modifier, and he's got Rose Tower to fill his hand up to 3.
Not even a Fusion Strike system used yet. Has the double turbo energy, but
That doesn't quite work.
no, yeah, the -20 doesn't provide a Fusion Strike energy either. But there is the third Genesect,
Oh,
the
Andrew's
exact board.
going all in on this. Does not even save a bench spot for Mew. If he whiffs this KO, that's a huge opening for Ian to take out a Mew V and leave Andrew with no option to get a VMAX on the following turn. Here's a Cramomatic. No way, a third heads.
3 for 3? Oh.
It couldn't happen this time. Flips the tails and discards a Pokemon catcher to go alongside it.
Yeah, I think the problem is there were not the best cards drawn right away, but this is going to be a big Fusion Strike system. Looks like 2 more cards looking for that Fusion Strike energy.
Well, it's Alessa's and something else.
Yeah, see, Boss's Orders, Alessa, a lot of cards that cannot be played this turn.
Oh, this is a big miss from Andrew. He may just have to retreat into this Meloetta that has no energy, potentially, and just pass. And he's done Ian a big favor by getting this Arceus V active for him.
Yeah, maybe even considering still dealing some damage with Meloetta.
Okay.
It looks like that will be the play. I do still like that. It can be a little bit hard to knock out one of these Arceus with a big charm.
For sure.
But still, able to deal 120 damage because of the reduced 20 from the double turbo, and this is opening the doors up for Ian to get a knockout onto this Meloetta to start applying some pressure. Already see Ultra Ball in the hand. That means we can grab an Arceus V-Star. Energy Search as well will fulfill the energy requirement. Things are being kicking off. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a Starbirth this turn for Ian.
Almost definitely. Ian has lots of different energy types in his deck, fighting, water, and darkness. So you want to be mindful of which ones you're using when. You definitely want to keep the darkness around in the deck so you can power up Galarian Moltres. So, or also getting them into play quickly and potentially having them hit the discard pile can mean that you'll be able to access them later on with something like Training Court.
It looks like opting to play this Ultra Ball, discarding the Clara, and ooh, unfortunately discarding there the Choice Belt. That math can be relevant later on as something like Oricorio comes down, but there it is. The hyper rare Arceus V-Star in play. Starbirth now an option at all times once during the game. So looks like maybe a split sleeve situation, something like that.
Yeah, it looks like that top sleeve has gotten broken there potentially.
Yeah.
Simple switch, yeah, looks like he's getting someone to bring him up his backpack so he can get the sleeves out, and yeah, simple switch of the sleeves and we'll get right underway. This does happen all the time. All these players did re-sleeve before top 8, so these are some fresh sleeves, and even still, you'll split them every once in a while.
Yeah, luckily we got someone to the rescue to get a sleeve to fix everything up. A lot of options off of this Arceus V-Star Starbirth ability. What do you think the main target or game plan should be for Ian going into this when you've got a great attacker late game like the Galarian Moltres?
Well, he definitely, I would say, wants to power up another Arceus here, potentially if he can. Maybe that Hoopa V could be a decent option. The problem about putting something like Hoopa or Moltres V into play too early is it's a very easy target for Andrew to go for. So I definitely would think he wants to try and get some Sobbles into play as well, as we do see Ultra Ball being played. Probably going to grab one of those Sobbles. And now a Starbirth follows it up. And I don't believe he has used a supporter card either, so we could see just like a research to dump the hand and draw 7 more.
Yeah, I like digging through the deck. A lot of solid options. We do see the Starbirth V-Star power eyeing up the Hoopa already off the bat.
Yep, got that research as well.
So has a lot of options when it comes to Pokemon to power up. You have to imagine you want to keep getting these dark type attackers down to get into play. But yeah, there you go. Exactly as you said. Grabs the research, 7 fresh cards, looking for a lot more pieces. I see Level Ball, good grab to maybe get out some more Sobble into play.
Yep.
But no other dark type attacker, and if Andrew can maybe respond with a way to apply some pressure, this could be big. But still, getting your Sobbles out, you can't complain. It is the backbone of the consistency of this deck.
So Ian will use the Trinity Nova and throw 2 energies onto the Hoopa V. Gonna hold off on putting a third one on because he definitely anticipates that Andrew could go for a Boss's Orders KO and wants to save that piece potentially.
Very smart line. Understands what the worst case scenario is and best case scenario. Found the balance for both, as Andrew will be left with 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon plus the active Mew V in the active spot. As things start over, we see the Boss's Orders actually already in hand for Andrew. Looks like eyeing up a Quick Ball, opting to discard the Oricorio. That could be a big card to prevent the 3-prize Galarian Moltres knockout, especially after you've seen your opponent discard Choice Belt. Is that maybe a little bit of an oversight on Andrew's side?
I don't think it's an oversight. I think he definitely wants to use this bench space for another Mew V because he's only got 1 in play right now. So if a Mew VMAX goes down, he doesn't have a way to respond and take a KO.
I like that. I like that indeed. Wants to be able to have those backup attackers. Eyeing up the Mew V off of the Quick Ball. As he said, already has Boss's Orders in hand. I think there's a few other unthinnable cards like the Alessa Sparkle I have to assume you're really looking to just try and use boss, unless the Sparkle will only grab a single Fusion Strike energy out of the deck, as one is in the prize card. So we'll see if that is the option. Looks like Mew VMAX already in the hand for Andrew as well. So has the option to maybe thin down to 2 cards in the hand, use Rose Tower, and then start firing off these Fusion Strike systems.
Yeah, he's just got to determine what he wants to do. Do you want to knock out this Arceus and just let your Mew potentially get KO'd by this Hoopa? That doesn't feel great. I feel like you have to play towards the boss almost, but Andrew's going to choose to just Fusion Strike system for 3 first and see what he can get.
Looks like a Training Court, a Cram-O-Matic, but no item cards. Very rare to be able to discard off of that Cram-O-Matic.
Yeah, that is one of the things about the card. It is great to thin your hand down, but only if you have other item cards to work with.
And actually going to have to get rid of the own Rose Tower, and Ian is more than happy to have Training Court in play. It is great for this deck. Playing 2 copies himself because he values the ability to get these energies back from the discard pile.
Yeah, huge for Ian's deck, something he definitely appreciates having access to, and would have probably put in play as soon as he drew it as well. Just 1 card drawn off the Fusion Strike system. It is the Fog Crystal, so you can get a basic energy here. And then now it needs to dig for a damage modifier to KO this Hoopa. It does have 220 hit points, so you need to hit either a Power Tablet or Choice Belt in order to get the KO on it.
Yeah, and as we're going through this top 4 game, of course, the other top 4 game playing out over on stream, have word that Isaiah is up 1-0 currently in his set. So 1 game closer to potentially getting to the finals. But our match here, Andrew actually playing multiple copies of Psychic Energy, I think is really interesting. We don't see this a lot, and we are now going to see the boss's orders bring up the Hoopa.
He's going for it. He needs off of these 2 cards to find a damage modifier or an item card to potentially Cram-O-Matic for it. Let's see what these 2 have. Fusion Strike Energy and no item card, so he doesn't even have the option to Cram-O-Matic.
Wow, and the fact that Hoopa as well is able to deal so much damage means that this Mew VMAX is going to be 10 damage short of taking the knockout on Hoopa. What a big miss here for Andrew.
It's a huge miss, and it makes me wonder if Andrew should have just gone for this earlier on. He held this boss's orders through multiple Fusion Strike systems and drew 1 less card multiple times because of it, and I think Andrew is just going to scoop it up. Recognizes that he can't win this game. He's not KOing this Hoopa. The Hoopa's just going to respond, KO his Mew VMAX, and we're going to a game 2. Ian Robb wins game number 1.
Wow, in dominating fashion, we see how powerful it is when these Dark-type Pokemon get powered up quickly by the Arceus with Trinity Nova. Quick game for Ian. We're going into game number 2. So far, we saw sort of this back and forth wire where Andrew had these opportunities, right, to advance the board state, that turn 1 knockout onto the Arceus, the response knockout onto the Hoopa. Is there anything really Andrew needs to do besides hitting the pieces that are needed to really finish off these combos that have been started, or rather have not been finished?
Yeah, I think that he was just maybe playing a little too conservatively, holding off on that boss's orders instead of just going in and saying, okay, I have to KO this Hoopa this turn. I'm going for this, so I'm going to play this boss and I'm going to draw 1 more card. Multiple times he held off on playing that card and unfortunately drew less because of it.
Yeah, I got to imagine that on paper, right, Dark-type attackers are favored against this primarily Dark weak deck, but we see how powerful Meloetta can be in these situations as a 1-prize attacker that's not weak to Dark. It only gives him 1 prize and it hits like a truck.
Yeah, it hits very, very hard. I mean, Andrew would have been in a pretty decent spot if he had gotten that KO, if he had just hit the Choice Belt or the Power Tablet. And you play 4 copies of Power Tablet, so you feel like you would have found one at some point. It just didn't quite work out for Andrew.
Not at all. It looks like Ian already finding a basic Pokemon. Over on Andrew's side.
Looks like he's got a Genesect over there.
Yeah, looks like an Ultra Ball to work with.
Ooh, a couple of Sobbles prized for Ian. That is not great because this deck really, really heavily relies on shady dealings. So having 2 Sobbles prized, that's just 2 less options you'll have.
Yeah, even last game, no Drizzles were used whatsoever, I believe, to get anything, as no really key pieces prized. There is the Marnie prize, but it is towards the bottom of the prizes, so most likely will be grabbed early. As we are ready to kick things off, Andrew will be going first, as most VMAX players want to. But this hand is looking...
Oh, no.
Does have the Ultra Ball, but there's not really much else you want to thin. You can technically attach the Choice Belt to a Pokemon, maybe play a Power Tablet for no effect, but it looks like we're just going to see the Pokemon Catcher hit the discard pile right away, as well as that Psychic Energy.
Yeah, Andrew can still play it down pretty low, and I think should be able to Fusion Strike System for at least 1 or 2 cards. Has the Oricorio in hand. You know, if this grabs a Mew V, you can throw a Choice Belt on it, the Fusion Strike Energy, put the Oricorio in play, and still draw 1 or 2 cards, but it's really going to be on these 1 or 2 cards for Andrew to find something to get out of this. But the problem, or the thing about Mew VMAX is that it only takes 1 or 2 cards. 1 Battle VIP pass, and you're going to be drawing a bunch of cards. 1 Quick Ball, and you can dig even more. So there's plenty of outs for Andrew off of this.
Plenty indeed. It really just comes down to how many of these cards Andrew wants to commit. Maybe the Choice Belt and the Fusion Strike Energy. We'll see if that is the choice. Even has Oricorio, but again, you'd rather use that bench slot for another Genesect or Meloetta to get powered up.
Yeah, I think I would rather bench Oricorio and be able to draw cards, though, as opposed to not doing it. Does choose to play the Power Tablet, so that's a key piece to lose early on. And now Fusion Strike System will be used. And drawing 3 finds the Battle VIP pass. What a huge hit.
Finds the Rotom phone as well, so
Yes.
can control the top deck for this Fusion Strike System, not for the full 5 cards, or 6 cards, excuse me, but for 5 cards instead. Most likely going to just grab a few Genesect to continue rocking off these Fusion Strike System. I can't stress that enough. What a big grab. If Andrew was unable to find the Battle VIP pass, those cards that are able to search out these Pokemon at turn 1 become unplayable for the rest of the game.
Yeah, huge hit for Andrew. Does grab 1 more Genesect, so we can still see another Fusion Strike System here. Could get a second Genesect. We may see like a Meloetta or maybe another Mew come down. I'll be interested to see what this 5th bench space becomes, because it's really hard to balance things, because you want the Meloettas down because you want to have that single prize attacking option, but you obviously need a bunch of Genesects down in order to use Fusion Strike System, but most of the time you also need 2 Mews in play in case one of them gets KO'd.
What do you think? Do you really prioritize getting the Genesect here, or do you agree with Andrew's decision to grab that second Mew in this position?
Yeah, I think it's fine to just go ahead and get the Mew. You're still going to draw a lot, and you don't really need much else this turn. So gets 3 more here off the Fusion Strike System, it looks like.
Looks like filling the hand up to 5.
And another Battle VIP pass, so Andrew can get 1 more Pokemon in play if he wants it.
Has that option.
And we'll go ahead and play that Battle VIP pass. Now can get either a Meloetta, a 3rd Genesect, maybe... I mean, I think those are really the only 2 options. I don't think you ever want the 3rd Mew here, so is Andrew going to value getting the Meloetta established, or does he value drawing more cards? And it looks like the answer right now is getting that Meloetta.
Has the opportunity to grab Meloetta. Having 2 Fusion Strike System, you usually see these players opt to have around 3 Genesect on the board, so there is that potential, but it looks like actually just going to grab the Meloetta, it seems, bench it. I thought it was in this card pile for some reason. Maybe it's just slid over a little bit, so we are going to see the Meloetta be benched and action kicked on over to Ian. Starting at Galarian Zapdos, not the best card in this matchup, but
Definitely
it actually
not.
can be pretty solid here in combination with a Choice Belt.
Sure.
Can take a knockout on the Genesect. Actually, not with the reduction from Oricorio, so Oricorio will get it just out of range, unfortunately.
Yeah, even with a Choice Belt, it would be doing 180 damage, not quite enough to pick up the knockouts.
Yeah, but with Galarian Zigzagoon, that would be
Okay,
enough. So
yep.
there is a world, but without any search options off of Starbirth or the Inteleon lines, it could definitely be troublesome. I'm trying to see this hand. It looks like just a Quick Ball. I don't see anything else that can really put in much work. I see Energy Switch. I see Boss, Scoop Up Net. I see Air Balloon. Not a lot of cards, but Quick Ball at minimum will be able to potentially get a Sobble out to keep calling, to put in a lot of pressure. It looks like Sobble being eyed up to the top of the deck right away.
He grabs the Sobble. I think Ian now is seeing that he only has 1 other Sobble. I think he was potentially going to go for the Keep Calling here, and he may still go for it to just get that second Sobble in play, even though 2 are prized. And this is going to be a huge information reveal to Andrew.
Huge indeed. Getting these Sobbles down is so important, especially when you're committing to an attack like Keep Calling to getting your Pokemon into play. The doors are open wide for Andrew. Starting to turn off a Boss's Orders top deck, or it looks like has Boss's Orders. Looks like the second Fusion Strike Energy as well.
I don't think he's drawn quite yet for turn.
Oh,
Ian's still
yeah.
shuffling it up, so still has 1 more card to get here to see before he gets underway with his turn.
Absolutely. Looking at what is already in the hand for Andrew, has the Fusion Strike Energy, so that attack requirement will be fulfilled. Rotom Phone to control top decks as well, but
Guess he did draw for
Oh,
turn.
he did.
So.
Okay, okay. I was like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I thought I saw something, but nevertheless, a Lesser Sparkle looks like to kick things off. Can
Not
now
bad.
have all 4 Fusion Strike energy into play. And this is like we were talking about earlier. Meloetta dealing 280 damage is a lot, very powerful, especially if the energies go onto the Meloetta to attack and it's not the Mew VMAX copying it.
Yeah, it's a little over the top when your opponent doesn't even have a Arceus in play, but it is still the play you kind of want to play towards, the thing you want to get towards. Also, sometimes what you can do is you can get 4 Fusion Strike energies in play onto 2 Mew VMAX because they are a lot harder to KO than Meloetta, and that way you can just start going in with Melodious Echo between the 2 different Mew VMAXs, and sure, your opponent can boss and KO Meloetta, but if they do that, you've got another Meloetta, and they haven't taken any Fusion Strike energies out of play.
And if they're playing a boss orders to knock out a 1 prize Pokemon instead of pressuring multi-prize Pokemon, things can definitely get pretty sketchy indeed. So
Andrew does choose to split the energies up here, putting 1 on the Mew and 1 onto the Meloetta.
Has the Rotom phone, I think, just considering whether or not to play it before utilizing a Fusion Strike system. We'll go ahead and play that. So looking at the top 5 cards of the deck, choosing what card out of there to find. It looks like has Escape Rope as an option, Power Tablets. Looks like eyeing up that Escape Rope as the grab.
Yeah, needs a switching card to get Genesect out of the active spot. Does still need to find an energy card, but I do believe a Psychic Energy got discarded turn 1, so there's plenty of ways for Andrew to get this card. He can either find the other Psychic Energy that he has. He can also find Fog Crystal to get it. He can also find the Training Court as well.
Plenty of options indeed, it looks like.
Or even just has the Fusion Strike already,
Yeah,
right?
already has the Fusion Strike energy. It has the boss as well. Could also potentially down the line in the future turn target that, but it's going to be unplayable for this turn. I think just debating, do I play the Fusion Strike energy down now, or do I just draw cards with this Fusion Strike system? You have to really be a lot more conservative now because you only have access to 2 Fusion Strike systems during your turn. It feels like 3 is the number we're seeing a lot with this deck.
So Andrew will draw 3 cards, does hit that rope. We know that was from the Rotom phone. Goes ahead and plays it right away. And now does Ian lose the Zapdos and keep 2 Sobbles in play? It seems nice to keep your 2 Sobbles around, but is it worth giving Andrew 2 prize cards?
That's kind of where you got to consider. Looks like valuing not giving up the prizes at this point. And the Mew V on the bench coming up to the active. We already see the Fusion Strike energy drew into the Mew V Max off of that Fusion Strike system. So we may just see the Mew V Max, or Mew V, excuse me, go ahead and evolve into that V Max, apply some more pressure. Could even take a knockout with something like a Psychic Leap here as well. Has plenty of options in order to take a KO on the Sobble.
Yeah, that is a play available, but will evolve the Mew VMAX, and Max Miracle can take this KO, so you can still threaten a Cross Fusion Strike for the Techno Blast on the next turn. And Quick Ball can thin 1 more card out of the hand. Andrew hanging on to that boss is the last card.
Yeah, you're going to want that for the following turn if something tries to get set up on the bench like an Arceus, but just deciding to thin the hand out, draw some more cards with Genesect. So,
yeah, only has 1 Fusion Strike system available because the first one was used whenever it was active. Drew that Escape Rope off the Rotom phone, so can draw 5 cards here. Yeah, and yeah, turn goes ahead and turns both of them, drawing 5 cards.
Eyeing up the potential options. I think just kind of considering, do you want to apply any more pressure this turn? Already drawn all cards off a Fusion Strike system, so that's not going to be an option. This is where we have to decide what the line of play is. I think eyeing up a potential Psychic Leap, it looks like can utilize that, or Max Miracle take this knockout. Yep. Andrew's going to take the first prize here of game number 2.
And Ian sends up the Sobble right away, which tells me he wants to get this Darkness Energy in the discard pile, because otherwise you would just send up the Galarian Zapdos, which has the Air Balloon. So Ian wants this Darkness Energy to go down so that he can maybe play something like a Raihan this turn, can maybe use Galarian Moltres' Dire Flame Wings. It is entirely possible for Ian to get a KO here if he can pull off a Raihan play with the Galarian Moltres V and get 2 energies in the discard pile.
So has an easy pivot option in that Sobble.
I think that's a lot to ask from Ian's hand, though.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was a top deck for the start of the turn either. It looks like eyeing up potentially going into the Zapdos, but at this point, the pacing is so in Andrew's court to start things off. We are just going to see the retreat. It looks like has access to potentially some sort of a ball search card. It looks like another Quick Ball to be able to find a Pokemon out. And at this point, it kind of seems like this would maybe be a position where you scoop things up, but Ian is playing the Galarian Moltres, which is a great card later on in the game after you feed your opponent some of these prize cards.
Yeah, it's really a matchup you can always win with Ian's deck. You can always come back because of how big of a swing the Galarian Moltres can be for you. It's a single prize Pokemon that can easily knock out a 3-prize Pokemon VMAX.
Now it's working again.
So it seems like eyeing up the Arceus V off of the Quick Ball. Looks like seeing what other options are in play. We obviously know that Andrew has the boss's orders. This could be a prime target to try to pick off this Arceus V if it does come down to play, and it looks like that will be the selection for Ian.
Yeah, grabs the Arceus V. I think there's a little bit of a discussion being had at the table, so we're just getting some stuff figured out. Looks like we got some of our tech people out there figuring some issues out, and we'll hopefully get this game back underway very, very shortly.
Yeah, so far what you've seen from this game, who do you think is really in the driver's seat? Is there really, we obviously see Andrew has the positioning and the tempo at this point, but is there a way or a road you see Ian being able to close this game out after being down so quickly?
Yeah, there's always the potential for just how Ian's deck is constructed, of course, with the Raihans, with, you know, the Galarian Moltres like we talked about. There's plenty of ways for him to come back into this. And Raihan, speaking of which, will be played, but it's only getting an energy onto Arceus V. So kind of a weak Raihan, to be honest.
Absolutely, and it looks like eyeing up to grab on the Drizzile, can get that evolved, utilize Shady Dealings to put a trainer card into the hand. It looks like really opting to grab a research for the following turn.
And this is a big tell to Andrew that Ian's hand is not very good. If he's using Raihan to go get a Drizzile and then get a research for the next turn, he just does not have a lot going on. And actually, it looks like Ian is just passing it back over to Andrew. So this is a massive opening, and we know Andrew, like you've mentioned, has boss's orders ready to go. And there's already a choice belt on this active Mew VMAX.
It even has the Psychic Energy for the Meloetta to take a knockout with a 1-prize Pokemon. Right away, retreating, switching into the Meloetta. It is dealing 280 damage because all 4 Fusion Strike Energy are in play. That is plenty to knock out this Arceus V. Will remove the energy off the board, attacking with a 1-prize Pokemon, everything you want to see. And that Zapdos V is in play, so things can be extremely scary. We'll have to see what the line of play is. I have to imagine we're going to see the Melodious Echo take the knockout. Already promoted that. It really just, again, it's going to come down to, does Andrew want to draw more cards, but has the potential to just kind of think through the options on what is played, what is possible, as looks like eyeing up the potential to draw some more cards off Fusion Strike system. You can't go wrong with that, right? Drawing cards is always great at Pokemon trading.
Drawing cards is pretty good, and Andrew hits a Cramomatic off of that 1 card. Not too bad, so that's something that could help you find any combo piece later on, potentially, as it will just be a 2-prize KO. Andrew going down to just 3 prize cards remaining, and Ian trying to find a way to come back into this game. He hasn't scooped it up yet, so that tells me Ian really feels like he has a good shot.
Yeah, it may come down
or a
to
reasonable shot at least.
Yeah. There are a lot of lines still in this game. Galarian Moltres will be hitting for more damage right now, hitting for 170 damage because of the 3 prize cards taken over on Andrew's side.
Oh, draws 1 Darkness Energy with the Moltres, but not a second one. I wonder, there's no, like, regular Hoopa in the deck, and yeah, Ian's just going to go ahead and scoop it up. Regular Hoopa wouldn't even gotten there because of the Oricorio, so Ian kind of sees the writing on the wall, says, I didn't draw that well in this one, and we're going to go to a Game 3 in top number 4.
Top cut indeed. We're getting into things. This will be pretty big as Ian will be able to go first. It's going to be a lot of lines opening, but it's always scary when Mew VMAX goes second because there is that always potential for turn 1 Melodious Echo to really mess up Ian's plans and take a big lead on Andrew's side.
Yeah, so it's really going to be these opening hands. Can Ian get multiple basic Pokemon in play so he can combat the potential escape rope from Andrew? And on Andrew's side, if he can hit some Pokemon catchers like he did in game number 1, that would put him in a decent spot. But that game number 1 is still the game that Ian ended up winning. Let's not forget.
Let's not forget that indeed. I feel like Ian, as long as the cards go in his favor, generally favored because of all the Dark-type Pokemon. But it again comes down to how hot Andrew draws. And this Mew VMAX deck can kind of just draw cards and find what it needs naturally. Has the biggest and best drawing power in the game. So looks like we are getting shuffled up and getting ready. This is a tense situation. This is where you really need to pray in your deck. You need to hope. You need to say, please let me draw all the cards I need. Don't fail me now. You got me this far. You got me to top 4. Pokemon, baby. Take it all the way home.
Yeah, every single win in Top Cut is just a huge level up to what you're getting. Of course, as far as prizing goes, with championship points, you get more and more for each win. And with the prize money as well, you get more and more. Of course, both of these players locking up at least $1,500 for making top 4. But getting to the finals will lock up $2,500. And of course, the first place prize for this event, $5,000 for our regional champion.
$5,000, can't go wrong. And don't forget all the Pokemon TCG booster packs.
How
as
could
well.
I forget
How
the
could
Pokemon
you forget?
TCG booster packs? Yes. What everyone is really here to play for, cracking some packs for sure.
Can't go wrong with cracking some packs. Players getting shuffled up, making sure to give the deck a good shuffle. This is where you need everything to go right. We haven't seen a single attack yet from the Galarian Moltres with Malevolent Charge. If this game plays out, I'm sure we'll be seeing that come into play towards the end game. I really want to pay attention to these opening hands, see what these players have to work with, because these opening turns are very crucial in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely. This opening turn, you know, does Ian get a bunch of Pokemon in play? Does he find the energy on the Arceus? And then what can Andrew do to respond? Does he hit everything he needs on his turn? The catcher heads, the Alessa Sparkle, the Meloetta, all of these things. Just is going to depend on how these things can come together, who is going to come out on top.
Who will be victorious? This hand for Andrew has the Mew, has the Meloetta.
And Ian over on the other side does prize a Clara and a Galarian Moltres, and that is a really big deal. Those are two really important cards. Over on Andrew's side, prizing the Battle VIP Pass, Cramomatic, not the best, but there's nothing too bad in those prizes.
Looks like we are getting ready to get things kicked off and started. Ian will be going first, smartly starting that Galarian Zigzagoon to be able to bench this Arceus V. It's going to just force Andrew to have one more piece of the puzzle to get this turn 1 knockout.
Yeah, definitely a heads-up play from Ian. You know, most of the time you would just see the Arceus V in your opening hand, and you're like, yes, that's my obvious starter. That's what I want to get in play. But in this instance, you want to try to protect that Arceus on the bench. And I like this decision as well from Ian to get the Arceus V as opposed to a Sobble with this Ultra Ball, because he knows that Andrew has Pokemon Catcher, and Pokemon Catcher can target down the lone Arceus V if Ian had decided to go with a Sobble or something like that.
Yeah, you want to have access to Starbirth. It's so important to find those key and important pieces to make these combos work, especially to get the energies and the attack off with the Trinity Nova. So, smart choice to be able to get that. I'm sure we'll see another energy in hand. There it is. Training Court will be able to bring back any energy in the discard pile.
Yep.
As long as it is basic. Can't bring back Double Turbo, unfortunately.
That would be a little too good, I think, if you ask me. Over on Andrew's side, looks like there's an Oricorio, a Meloetta, a Fusion Strike energy already, as well as an Ultra Ball. So Andrew will have some plays available, but it's not the, you know, best opening hand ever. There's no Battle VIP Pass.
I think just considering what to get rid of at this point, because you really need to bench these Pokemon, but wow.
Ooh, 2 Fusion Strike energy, and there is always the risk that one of them could be prized. So choosing to Ultra Ball away a Fusion Strike energy feels really tough.
I feel like you have to have these Pokemon, right, to be able to draw more cards off Genesect, so this will be a very interesting choice to see what gets discarded off of the Ultra Ball. Ooh, opting to get rid of Boss. That is a key card later on in the game to be able to gust up these Pokemon. And you want to play Escape Rope to at least try to take a 2-prize knockout this turn, but do you think it's really worth keeping that around, or do you really agree with this Fusion Strike energy discard?
I mean, I think this really, the decision point comes down to Andrew being worried that a Fusion Strike energy could be prized. We know that, you know, none of them are prized, so he'll still be able to pop off and try to get an Alessa Sparkle, and the Escape Rope can be played here as well. But what is interesting about playing the Escape Rope quickly here is you're going to be sending up your Meloetta, so you're going all in on the fact that you're going to find Alessa Sparkle.
You're going to have to commit to this line of play. We'll see if Andrew wants to play more risky, or as we've kind of seen in some of these sets, a little bit more passive, if that punishes like it did in game number 1 to not be able to dig through the deck as aggressively. We'll be seeing a Fusion Strike system for 4. I'm almost certain going to play down those Fusion Strike Pokemon to draw, and this is going to be a big find. Looking for the Battle VIP Pass. Chromatics to find Battle VIP Pass. Battle VIP Pass, the main card to look for. Can't stress that enough. It's what allows this deck to function on turn 1.
I'll be interested to see if Andrew chooses to go with the Escape Rope first. We saw him play a little passively with the Boss's Orders in game number 1, so it does feel like this is the route he's committed to. 3 cards here. Is there outs to keep drawing? There's a Cramomatic, and an Alessa Sparkle also has the Ultra Ball. So this is a little awkward, to be honest, because it's an Ultra Ball, but there's not two cards you want to discard in this hand. You want to play the Alessa Sparkle, obviously, and then the Escape Rope can force up one of these Arceus to take a 2-prize knockout.
Okay, you can take a 2-prize knockout, but from there, what is the route on Ian's side? It looks like eyeing up, potentially digging through the deck a little bit further, but taking a knockout to work so hard to get a turn 1 knockout, all for it to just be on a Zigzagoon feels like it's just not as worth, but just going to go ahead and play the Alessa Sparkle to start things off, opting to throw the energy onto that Meloetta and the Mew, the last 2 Fusion Strike energy left in the deck, so we won't be seeing any 280 damage shenanigans this game.
Not this game. Had to discard one off of the Ultra Ball earlier on. What Andrew could do is, you know, Ultra Ball away these 2 cards, and then he has to just dig for either a catcher heads or something like that, or he could just go for the Cramomatic and say, if I hit heads, I'm going to battle VIP pass and kind of pop off, but if I hit tails, I'm going to just have to pass this turn. It's a tough call.
Yeah, it's a call you got to make in a situation where things are definitely difficult. At minimum, we'll be able to get down another Genesect, so can draw some more cards.
Is he going to go for the Cramomatic here? That is the big question, or is it an Ultra Ball?
It surely has to be an Ultra Ball with how conservative it's been played.
I mean,
right?
he shuffled his deck, so that tells me he doesn't feel like he's going back in before a flip, potentially. But he will take the safe route, go with the Ultra Ball, and I think this is definitely correct. That would have been crazy to watch him flip a Cramomatic and see if he could have gotten a heads. It would have been one of those plays that, like, if you hit it, it's game-winning almost. Like, you just put yourself in such an amazing spot since you already have Escape Rope, but if you miss it, it's potentially game-losing. So this is, you know, definitely the correct play.
I like being conservative in this spot. We'll see what the draws are. Going to be drawing up to a fresh 5 cards off of this Fusion Strike system. Drawing a card for every Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. Not the maximum amount, but quite close to it. We'll just need to bench 1 more Fusion Strike Pokemon. Have to assume looking for another Mew or another Genesect to get things rolling.
Yeah, another Genesect would be great here. Or another Mew, like you said. Does hit the catcher, but does not have the damage modifier. So he is unable to take a knockout on either of these Arceus, regardless of hitting that catcher.
Wow, that is a big-time miss.
Has the Rotom Phone, but has already used both of the Genesects.
Yeah, no card like a Rose Tower to draw through cards and other means, and we're going to see the retreat into the Meloetta potentially. I assume because you have this powered up, there's no reason not to be aggressive and take these prizes. You need to in order to stay in this race when these Dark-type attackers are going to be going absolutely bonkers later on in the game.
Yeah, debating what to do. Could just send up the Oricorio and pass, and that is a big opening for Ian, but maybe Andrew's saying, hey, it's going to be hard for you to pull off too much since you don't have any Sobbles in play, but if Ian can at least find an Arceus V-Star, Starbirth can pull a bunch of pieces together here, especially since he already has the double turbo energy, and we see Research being played as well.
I like this grab. You can prioritize the Starbirth to grab more pieces to power up attackers later on. You're going to be taking 1 prize anyways, unless you want to target the Mew down. Understanding what the lines are, how this Arceus V-Star can be pretty difficult to be knocked out the following turn. There are still a lot of damage modifiers in the deck, not too many in the prize cards, so there is a scoop that actually found off of the Research, now has access to Zigzagoon at any point, opens the bench space off, and I'm sure we may be seeing a Starbirth this turn to find some key pieces like some Sobbles to set up, maybe another supporter card for the following turn. Options are endless here for Ian.
Yeah, Ian's got plenty of plays available, can get any 2 cards out with the Starbirth. Definitely wants to establish some Sobbles here, ideally, and I think that's what we'll see. Quick Ball being grabbed here, or potentially a Hoopa, but yeah, it does go with the Sobble to start with. I think Ian really doesn't want to, like, power up the Hoopa right away if he doesn't have to. He plays, like, Energy Switch in his deck, so that's one of the ways he wants to power it up with Raihan, Energy Switch, stuff like that, or, of course, using Galarian Moltres V as one of those other options.
Looks like eyeing up the potential to maybe go back into the deck with the Starbirth V-Star power. Doesn't have to worry about Path to the Peak or anything shutting down that during this game, so can utilize it now or later. So, just going through the resources, we can get a little bit, maybe a better look at what is available. We know 1 Fusion Strike energy gone, an Escape Rope is gone. Looks like has the access to Pokemon Catcher still into the hand, so that could be a potential big flip coming up in this next turns. But action is really on Ian on what the line of play really looks like. And actually opting to not utilize Starbirth right now, I think that's a very smart play to try to set up plays later on in the game. We do know that Ian is running Energy Switch, and that could be a way to maybe get a Galarian Moltres powered up in a single turn and open up the door for a big knockout onto a Mew VMAX.
Yeah, I think this is really smart from Ian because it's also going to make it way easier for you to respond to a potential Marnie later on in the game from Andrew. You know, that's one of the strategies that Mew will employ in matchups like this, is going for Marnie on a key turn when you're taking a knockout and making it much harder for your opponent to use a bunch of shady dealings. So if you have access to Starbirth, that's like just better Shady Dealings.
Wow, Quick Ball was the top card. That would have been so big the previous turn to maybe be able to dig through further with another Genesect, but we'll go ahead and, looks like eye up, discarding the escape rope. We're going to be seeing most likely a Genesect get grabbed to continue turboing through the deck with Fusion Strike System. Has the Meloetta powered up to deal 210 damage. We'll need to find 3 damage modifiers in the Choice Belt as well as the Power Tablets in order to get this knockout.
Yeah, definitely possible to make it happen. Could also do it with a Mew VMAX, or could do it with the one prize Meloetta as well. And I think it's actually a turn where you wouldn't mind using the Mew VMAX because it's still safe from being KO'd by like the small Galarian Moltres, but it would be in range of being KO'd, of course, by either Hoopa or Galarian Moltres V.
You got a lot of things to consider as we do see the Genesect, the target of that Quick Ball. So we'll see if there's any other Pokemon to fill the bench up with. Otherwise, it will just be Fusion Strike System to fill the hand up to 5 cards as we... Ooh, you see so hesitant to play down that training court because Andrew understands how beneficial that card is to Ian in the long run.
Yeah, but it's a card you got to burn out of your hand. You need to play cards in order to draw them with Fusion Strike System.
Oh, Pokemon Catcher Tails, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, looks like it was a catcher being played. Was off the screen there a little bit. Has, I think, a Meloetta in hand. Is going to choose to bench that. Okay, so that's no extra space for a second Mew V.
Looks like is going to play the training court, and we will see, looks like a Rotom phone to look at the top 5 cards, see what options there are available off the top. Finds a Power Tablet. That's a good way to start the turn off. It's a nice damage modifier.
Not bad at all. Needs a couple more, though, in order to reach for this knockout to get up to the 280 needed to knock out this Arceus V-Star. Of course, Ian is not playing any of those HP boosting cards like the Big Charm that we've seen from so many of these Arceus decks. It is still a lot to hit, though. Even without Big Charm, it is still hard to get to the Arceus V-Star.
That's such a tanky Pokemon. 280 health is a big number to hit, especially on a 2-prize Pokemon.
Yes.
So we see the... Looks like
it was a Rotom phone.
I have to assume the Power Tablet was grabbed off that. It is what you are looking for in the damage modifiers on this Meloetta, as we are going to see Fusion Strike System fill the hand up to 5, so we'll be seeing 4 cards off this first system. I feel like you really... Oh,
yeah, that's what he's debating was, do I put down this second Meloetta? And Andrew seems to think the answer was yes. He goes with it.
6 cards, a fresh 6 off of this Fusion Strike System. How many damage modifiers are there? Just 1, but a lot of cards to be able to burn through. Has a Boss's Orders as well, can keep that around, but the more you keep these cards around, the more they're going to just...
Heads, so that can grab a damage modifier, and now Andrew only needs to hit 1 more. And we are getting an update on the other top 4 match that's being played out. Isaiah Bradner was able to defeat Andrew Weiss, who we had on stream in that round 15. So congratulations to Isaiah, who will be playing in the finals of this regionals against the winner of this match. Will it be Andrew or will it be Ian? What are you thinking at this point in the game? Who are we favoring in this position?
I've got to favor Ian because of how set up this board is. Without the use of the V-Star power, you have the ability to get the Galarian Moltres. There's a lot of lines, and especially things get a little bit tricky when you see things like this, the chromatic heads to mess things up, to find the specific cards. I think it will definitely come down to this turn 100% as a pretty good indicator. If Andrew is unable to find the knockout and the damage modifiers, the ball is 100% in Ian's court to finish this game out.
Andrew's really debating what to grab here off of this Cramomatic. So it's not as simple as just getting a damage modifier, it looks like. He's really considering multiple other things, just trying to figure out, based on what's prized, maybe how likely it is to draw into some of these pieces.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the curses of having a card that lets you grab any card in the deck. You have so many options to look at, so many things to consider.
There is 1 Power Tablet prize, so that maybe could be a consideration here from Andrew, is debating, do I take a Power Tablet first or do I take the Choice Belt first?
Yeah, it's kind of whichever one you feel at that point to get there, to get the math going. The Choice Belt will go away after a knockout.
Yeah, but if you grab Choice Belt off of the Cramomatic and then you Fusion Strike System and you draw into a second Choice Belt, it's not a damage modifier you can play, right?
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree 100% with that. It looks like we will see, the energy played down onto the Mew V. first power tablet being played, so we'll do our best to track how many have been played at this point.
Yep, just one right now.
Second Fusion Strike system, filling the hand up to 6 cards. What is the grab?
There's another tablet.
Found another tablet, so that's 2 damage modifiers. Needs one more in either that Choice Belt or Power Tablet. One more Power Tablet now left in the deck. The problem is really going to come after this turn. How do you take care of the second Arceus, V? Because you're going to be down most of your damage modifiers.
There's an Ultra Ball in the hand, can thin it down quite a bit, has 1 Genesect remaining, and does need one more modifier here. It needs to find either that last Power Tablet or it's actually just 1 copy of the Choice Belt in order to hit this KO. Also needs the Mew VMAX if he wants to attack with that, as opposed to attacking with the single prize Meloetta. I think attacking with the Meloetta here is maybe a little bit better, so you don't put this Mew VMAX in harm's way. But maybe this is the turn where, you know, Ian needs the most stuff to KO a Mew VMAX, whereas later on it can just be easily KO'd by a Moltres. So you just go in with the Mew here and hope that Ian can't quite pull off the pieces to get the knockout.
We do see the Ultra Ball thin the hand out, and this is going to potentially be a big Fusion Strike system, but it looks like opting to not play the second Power Tablet, I don't think quite
No, he
yet.
did play it.
He
He played it, yeah.
Okay, so my bad. Big 5 cards here off the Fusion Strike system. Do we see the Power Tablet?
He's hiding it from us.
I don't think so. No Pokemon Catcher, no Power Tablet, cannot draw any more cards because there's no room left for a Fusion Strike system and no way to get something like a Rose Tower into play.
So he's dealing 270 damage with Melodious Echo or with Technoblast, whichever one he wanted to go with, and they're both going to come up just short of getting this KO.
That is a big-time miss. No cards to quick shooting or Zigzagoon to finish it off. So if it's 10 damage short, it's still going to be a 2-hit knockout compared
He
to
can
if it was
still dig,
whatever.
though. Has not played a supporter.
Wow.
Going for the Marnie, the tech card. This is not the time you want to play this card in this matchup, but it's what he needs to do. He needs to try to hit this damage modifier. 5 cards to find it. Let's see if it's in this hand.
This is going to be a big grab. Revealing slowly. No, I don't see Alessa Sparkle in a switch.
Echoing Horn, Mew, and the Ultra Ball. He misses the damage modifier, and it's going to come up 10 damage short of getting this knockout.
That is a big-time miss there for Andrew. Unable to find the pieces to put this together, and now you have to be wondering, what control does Ian have? Still has the option of which attacker to use, and that's going to be the big key. What is your thought here, Chip? Does he go in with the Meloetta, or do you go with the Mew, expecting that you're not at 2 low prize cards, so Galarian Moltres isn't a threat?
Yeah, maybe at this point you go in with the Mew since it's, you know, since Ian won't be able to play Raihan. That's kind of one of the pieces that allows you to pull off these Moltres V plays out of nowhere. So since Raihan won't be activated, maybe that's what Andrew's going to be fine with, just going in with the Mew VMAX, and it seems like that will be the case. Melodious Echo dealing 270 damage, 10 damage shy of picking up a knockout.
So short, but not enough. So close. Action now on Ian. Finds another Sobble off the top of the deck. We'll be able to bench that, and this is really where you got to look through your resources, what cards you have access to. Looks like 2 Darkness Energy already in the discard pile. Has Training Court to potentially bring the cards back. Has the Energy Switch already in hand.
Yeah.
This is a potential. I think there's a cards in play to be able to allow this Galarian Moltres V to take this knockout. We'll have to see exactly what gets grabbed off Starbirth, but I'm trying to see exactly what's in the hand. I did spot that Energy Switch.
Yep.
I think the cards will be there after this Starbirth.
Yeah, I think he can definitely pull it off, can easily retreat this Arceus out of the active spot, just get rid of that double turbo energy. You don't mind it too much. You also have access to a single Shady Dealings. You can get that developed into potentially becoming a Inteleon on the next turn. Is actually just grabbing a Choice Belt and a Drizzile. So maybe on this turn, Ian being at 5 prize cards remaining, he's going to go for a Boss's Orders on a Genesect, take that 2 prize knockout, and then know that with any of his Darkness type attackers, he could knock out the Mew. He's got a couple of different lines he could go with here.
There's the Moltres V, the Galarian Moltres with that Dire Flame Wings ability, allowing it to bring back a Darkness Energy from the discard pile, and I think Ian's got the cards here to make this possible. There's the Dire Flame Wings. There's the Energy Switch coming down, I think just considering to make sure this is the play I want. Can move the Fighting Energy over. There is a Colorless in that attack cost. Has the retreat, has not attached yet for turn. Andrew is going to get hard punished here for attacking with the Mew VMAX this turn.
Yeah, this is great. This is exactly what Ian wants to do. A 3 prize KO. You take 3 damage counters. You don't mind it too much. And you only have 2 prize cards remaining to Andrew's 6. And you're taking a Fusion Strike energy out of play, which is Andrew's easiest way to respond. And there's now no Mew V in play.
No view at all, and no Mew V in play at all, and the Meloetta only has 2 Fusion Strike energy in order to copy, and you just burned so many damage modifiers the last turn. What options does Andrew even have to put together this victory?
It's going to have to be a lot of damage modifiers, but the problem is that Andrew's already played a couple of power tablets and was just short of picking up the KO. I would say maybe he could pull off like an Oricorio play to, spread 5 damage counters and pick up a knockout on this Arceus on the bench, but Oricorio, I believe, was the first thing that got KO'd. Cramomatic Tails is a terrible way to start the turn.
No.
It's not looking good here for Andrew, and, I mean, Ian is definitely in a commanding position. Andrew's going to play this Ultra Ball and see what options are available in the deck.
Yeah, all the Fusion Strike energy you see in play are what's left. Does grab the Mew V to try to set that up for the following turn, but Ian at 2 prize cards has multiple ways to try and close this game out.
At this point, all Ian needs is Boss's Orders. Even if this Galarian Moltres gets KO'd, Ian has 3 basic energies on this Arceus V-Star, and Boss's Orders can knock out any of these Genesects to close out the game.
So many options to work with, so many routes to victory. They all are clear, out in front, nothing too complex, as we may just see some Fusion Strike systems start to fire off. This one going to fill the hand up to up to 6 cards. Hopefully we'll see the Genesect get tapped just to make sure we see that card is put aside to just indicate that these Fusion Strike systems are being used. There we go.
There we go, and has 6 cards in hand to work with now. Could go with a Boss's Orders to take out this Arceus, but then you're not dealing with the Moltres. But honestly, I think dealing with the Moltres just doesn't matter quite as much because, the Arceus on the bench is already powered up as well. I guess you have to try to deal with one of these Pokemon that's powered up with energies and then hope you can find a way to deal with the other one on the next turn. Because, Ian just needs to attack twice and has 2 attackers, even if he's KOing 2 one-prize Pokemon.
We will see the retreat. I'm sure this is to burn some cards out of the hand. Yeah, like something like a switch or an escape rope, as we are actually going to see. Yeah, the switch was just burned, it looks like, or did just play another switch. So we saw one discarded off the Ultra Ball, start the turn off, has another switch to get the Mew into the active, drawing into, it looks like Battle VIP Pass, another couple of cards that can't necessarily be played.
Pokemon Catcher.
Looks like a desperate Pokemon Catcher.
Hits
does
a
flip
heads, but what does he even bring up here? You can take out the damaged Arceus, but now there's 2 Pokemon on the bench with 3 energies apiece.
Yeah, do you maybe try to stall this out in the active? It's got a 2 retreat cost, but Air Balloon has still not been played, and we know that is in Ian's list.
Yeah, I think going for a stall play is just, it's like kind of the losing play. You know that it's, Ian is inevitably going to find a way to retreat this Pokemon. So it looks like the catcher was just to burn cards out, plays Boss's Orders, brings that Moltres back into the active spot. And I think, bottom 2 cards of the deck are the Choice Belt and the Power Tablet. Andrew sees the writing on the wall, scoops the game up, and Ian Robb is moving on to the finals in Indianapolis.
Showing us the power of this deck in game number 3, the ability to power up that Galarian Moltres in one turn. So cool, that combination of cards with the energy switch. It feels like every single card in this list has been optimized, and it's in here for a purpose, and it's worked out. And look at Ian, he's in the finals with Medicham V, as well as a bunch of other friends with the Arceus V-Star.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I mean, Medicham's cool, but this is an Arceus V-Star deck. Arceus is the star of the show, and a really similar deck, honestly, to what Ian played in Salt Lake City. Obviously, has changed things up just a bit, got a few new tricks in there, like the Medicham, energy switch plays. The Hoopa V is a tech for the Urshifu matchup, but it also happens to be really solid against things like the Mew VMAX. And now, Ian Robb finds himself moving on to the finals, where he will be playing against Isaiah Bradner. Going to be an exciting game to watch. I can't wait.
No, that is going to be an